You see all the van life photos, you watch all the van tours, but do you wonder what this nomadic lifestyle is all about? Are you curious about life on the road? Social media calls it #vanlife. We call it home. I'll ask 10 questions to get you the stories that you want to hear from the people who live, work, and travel and adventure in this nomadic lifestyle. Welcome to Life on the Road. Welcome to another episode of Life on the Road, where I ask 10 questions to get you the stories that you want to hear from his Life on the Road. Welcome, brother.
Good to have you.
Man, I'm so happy we get to do this. Obviously, we've been chatting about it all winter long and trying to figure it out. Ever since kind of, not even Tiny Fest, I guess, ever since the little party at Brighton.
Yeah, it was a good day.
That was a really good day. And we might talk about that a little bit.
Hope so.
Yeah, but no, this is going to be fun. I'm so glad that, the stars aligned and we happen to be in the same city. We're here in Salt Lake City on an actually relatively warm day.
Yeah, this has got to be the best day it's been all year.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
A little windy, but
yeah,
very beautiful out. Sun's finally out.
Sun's finally out. It snowed a couple days ago. Skiing is still world class right now.
Yeah, all time.
In Utah, all time, like literally all time. They just stated like this was the best in the history of since they've been recording snow or something in the state of Utah.
I think for pretty much every resort at this point.
Yeah.
And there's still plenty of season left to come and a lot more snow on the way.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're going to be skiing till like late April, early May for sure. If resorts stay open, like Park City said they're staying open till May 23rd.
Yeah,
it's unreal.
I saw somewhere in like Mammoth or Tahoe, it's open till July 4th already.
Yeah, they're already. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So we're going to be skiing all summer long as well. So. But yeah, I'm excited to do this. I'm excited that this came together perfectly, actually. So let's learn a little bit about your life on the road. Question 1, what was the beginning, moment, cause, or inspiration to live your life on the road?
Yeah, so...
Actually, wait. I haven't done one of these in a minute. I'm way, way, way ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Way ahead of myself.
Gotta get the full intro and everything?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
As we always start the show, tell us who you are, how long you've been on the road, and where you're from. And then shamelessly promote yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Carson Hoteling. Instagram's kind of the main mode of communication. Yep. So this is Ghost. My Instagram is The Road Ghost Traveled. So that's the best way to get a hold of me or follow along for the journey. I originally grew up in Michigan. Okay. I grew up in Grand Rapids. Yep. Went to Michigan State University, lived in Detroit for a couple of years, and we are Spartans. Moved out west and kind of started my traveling nomadic journey. Yeah. And it's like we met at Tiny Fest, kind of very randomly, and then knew we both were going to be in winter conditions all winter long, and then you randomly wanted to throw an event at Brighton, which my friend Caden, shout out Caden, kind of semi-commandeered the event and did like a little joint party and it ended up being pretty rad. Yeah, it turned out way better than I expected. I just wanted to have a party because I got this giant like 24-inch wok that runs on like a huge propane tank and wanted to break it in. So I was like, I'll like make breakfast burritos for people, make like fried rice for lunch, and like made a little flyer for it. And then Chad saw it, put me in contact with Caden. We ended up having this whole like Snowmad village with like 6 rigs. We got there like super early, had like the best spot. We're like bumping music all day. We built a jump. Made food and coffee, hot chocolate for everybody. So I love doing events like that and just being able to like, have your whole rig with you and have a big speaker and be able to kind of just do little pop-up parties and that was like you were never there. That was a really fun day. And if you want any highlights of that day, actually you can go to my YouTube page at Bearded Van Life and go to the Ski Utah
episode, and you can actually see the highlights from that day. So yeah, it was a pretty rad day.
Yeah, we did a couple more of them this winter. And
yeah.
I have that walk with me. I just bring it around with me in the van now, so I'm hoping to do some at like some nomadic meetups and music festivals and stuff like that.
Hell
so
yeah. That'll be
more
rad,
to come.
for sure. Now we can begin.
Yeah.
Now we know who
That was
you
a good time to
are.
start.
Exactly. That was the other connection we had. Obviously, being both Spartans, like it was definitely rad. So
go green.
Go green. Go white. Question 1: what was the beginning cause, moment, or inspiration to live your life on the road?
Yeah. So my story, I feel like there's gonna be kind of like a long, drawn out story here, but I feel like it's all pretty related to how I got here, like how to get to living in a van. For me, I didn't really travel at all until I even like got to college. So growing up, I had like traveled around playing soccer, and like, you know, I'd go to a city, but we'd stay in a hotel. Like couldn't even use the hot tub. Didn't go out to do anything for the city. Like we were there for business, like just to play soccer kind of. And so everything was going pretty well. And then all of a sudden when I was 12, my dad just like suddenly passed. Like found out he had a brain tumor. A month later, it was like gone. So obviously really devastating for my whole family. And then the next year, my mom got cancer, kind of opposite like story, where like she had gone through chemo and surgery and like this years long drawn out process. And I had actually lost both of them before I even graduated high school. So, you know, as far as like traveling, especially for places that like I wanted to go, is non-existent until I was like in college, going on like ski trips every winter with ski club with MSU. So like winter break we would do that. Spring break I lived in these co-ops which had like 20 to 30 people living in them, all guys and girls like running the house very democratically, and we'd get a big log cabin in like the Smokies. And that was kind of my first experience in like hiking and just even traveling in nature and being outside and like really going somewhere and just doing what I wanted to do. So I didn't even really have any experience traveling or being nomadic at all until college. And
I mean the Michigan State Ski Club is
world
class. Like
it's
they
wild.
They are hardcore group. I remember I went on a couple trips with them. I was playing golf there, so I didn't get to ski as much when I was playing golf at Michigan State, but man, I knew a lot of friends in that club, and they're hardcore.
There's like over 1,000 people in the club. We would bring like 500 to 600 on these ski trips. Like it was a good time.
For sure.
Really affordable way to do it too, which was awesome. So that got me really excited about traveling, hiking, being outside, just like wanting to explore. Like finally got the taste of it, and then after college did a Europe trip for 2.5 months. Went to like 15 different cities with my girlfriend at the time. Just got like Eurail passes and did the whole hostel thing. And you know, that was really my first experience of like doing it for more than a week and really making things up on the fly, like having to make your own plan, really like figuring out what you wanted to do in that city, what cities you wanted to go to, finding all your own restaurants. And for me, like, I can see how some people can get stressed in those environments where everything isn't planned out and scheduled. For me, I like thrive in that environment, which I think is why it's so perfect for the van. You know, like not always having an answer and having like a rough guideline of things that you might want to do or that you're interested in, but you know, kind of making it up as you go along.
For sure.
And every time I went on one of these trips, like to Colorado or like the spring break trips or Europe, I'd come back and just like get kind of depressed. Like Michigan, I was like, this place, you know, like now that I've like seen the other side, the grass like maybe it's greener over there, like I wasn't so stoked to be back. So I started working full time for General Motors, was just blowing all my vacation days like so quickly in the year. Doing ski trips and like not having enough, trying to get them to let me work remotely. That wasn't really working. This was like pre-COVID in like 2018, 2019. So I ended up just saying fuck it one day and just quit, and went to Alaska for a month. Went to like Joshua Tree, ended up renting like a 4-door sedan, like not even a nice car, and living out of that for like the rest of the summer. Like no fridge, no cooler, no stovetop, like nothing. Like I eat dry food and like ate out, like the bare bones way of doing it. I was like thriving, like I loved it, like hiking every day, doing what I wanted to do. I was like, I really want to do this, but I need to make it more sustainable.
How long did you do that little stretch in your sedan?
It was a little over a month. And then I was like traveling the whole summer. Like I was in Alaska for like a month, and then Joshua Tree for like a month too.
So you definitely got a taste of like road life. And in the nomadic life, you've already been on a bunch of big trips. So like that's starting to feed it. So what was the kind of the impetus to then break into the van?
So great question. So traveling with a car is way more ideal in a lot of situations. Like Europe is very different because they have so many trains, and their public transportation is amazing, and like a lot of things to do are in the cities. So I really didn't really feel like I needed a car that often. I barely even like took taxis and stuff. But in the United States, like you need a car. If you want to get to like cool places that you know, a car is necessary. So I turned that rental car in and went to Aspen for the winter and got fired pretty quick for not obeying the rules. And I was living in employee housing at the time, so I had like a week to find out where I was going to live and like move all my stuff. So got in a like really tough situation, had to figure something out really quickly. Went to Vail, got employee housing there, and then like kept kind of finding myself in these situations where I was like, man, like if I at least haven't had a car, this would be way more ideal, where I could throw my stuff in the car or something, or even just be able to drive to another place where I have friends. But not even having a car was like really hard, really tough. And then ultimately one day I just like kept having all these experiences where I was like, you know, life is short, like both my parents passing, and then one of my other buddies died in Detroit right before I left, and I was like, man, like gotta start living now. And then another one of my friends that passed, and like I was telling you about it, like I wasn't able to make his funeral, and I felt horrible about it, and like never got the closure that I felt like I wanted. And you know, that was like the final straw where I was like, I'm not letting this happen again. Like I keep talking about for like 5 years at this point, like I'm gonna get this van, I'm gonna be working remotely, it's gonna be so awesome, and I'm gonna be able to be there for all these like weddings and funerals and moments that I feel like I need to be there for.
Of course.
And I didn't even have the money or anything like saved for it, and I was like, I'm just gonna buy a van. You know, if I buy it, I'll figure out a way to make it happen. In the worst case, I can always sell it, but it's never gonna happen if you never like, you know,
start. You got to take the first step. Exactly. What was the time frame, or when did you start? When was the purchase of the van?
So I bought it in April 2021. And then started building it in Vail, like living it out of a hostel, like was building it like the Home Depot parking lot. Really quickly realized that like that was not going to work, just with like all this extra wood from like building my floor, like taking that out, it'd start raining, I got to like put it back in the van. I'm like working on it in the parking lot. I'm like, this is not going to work. So my sister was awesome enough to let me come to her house for a little while, so I drove it all the way back to Michigan. She has like a 4-bed, 3-bath house with like a 2-car garage, so I kind of just took that over. She was super awesome and would cook me food, and like that was all I could focus on for 3 months, like 10+ hour days. There was days I woke up at like 8 a.m., worked on until like 3 or 4 in the morning, crunch time, like towards Thanksgiving when I was trying to figure it out and like finish it. So that was like 3 months of straight working on it. Then I came to Salt Lake City that winter and just like got an Airbnb, took a little pause on the van, and then went to Joshua Tree and worked on it for like another 3 months. So took about 6 months out of a year. So like from April 22 is when I moved into the van full time.
Like full time. Okay. And we'll get to the rig and all that down the road. Question 2, what has been your experience with other nomadic travelers while living your life on the road?
It's interesting because I think no matter what, when you see somebody in another rig, like you already have so much in common. And like there's just like so much that you're fundamentally gonna have similar in terms of like values, like leaving no trace and like wanting to enjoy the outdoors, and like so I don't ever think I've even had somewhat of a negative experience with anyone in the community at all. Like everything is just like everyone's looking out for each other. You don't feel like you have to like hide things from each other. Like I have no problem like meeting someone cool on the road and telling them all the coolest hikes I did and all like where to get water and where I've been camping. Like I'm not going to post all that on like my Instagram because I don't want to blow places up and do that whole thing.
But sharing information and providing information to others that who live this lifestyle.
Just a few people. And,
exactly. Like people that you meet and you trust, and you be like, hey, you're in this area, I know a great spot. Here, I'm going to send you a pin, you know, that type of stuff. Here's some
everyone's just looking out for each other. It's a really awesome community, and you just automatically have so much in common with somebody. It's like, for me, I've gone to like clubs or something, and there's a lot of other people there, sure, but it's like maybe 5% of those people you would really like resonate and connect with. I feel like it's like 90% of those people in like the nomadic community, you like just hit it off. Like, you're like your best friends like immediately.
Well, again, really cool. You have a shared experience in the life that you're living at the end of the day. And so all that stuff you can either talk about and like dive in deep with somebody about, and like, hey, you know, where are your favorite places? Where have you gone? Like, where are your travels? Or you skip all that because you know you guys already have that in common, and you dive deep into, you know, who you are, what you like, what you enjoy, that type of stuff.
100%. So, I think you can get much past the surface level of things much more quickly and really get to know somebody.
For sure. And like, our meeting, you know, like randomly met at Tiny Fest, you know, and then, you know, get linked back up here in Utah just because I happened to see a post you put on Instagram, and then was like, hell yeah, I'm coming to ski with you. And then, oh yeah, hell yeah, I'm bringing half a party with me, and we're gonna create our own little kind of party. So yeah, it ended up being amazing. So yeah, that day was pretty epic for sure. Question 3, what has been your biggest failure and what has been your biggest triumph while living your life on the road?
Failure, I would say building my van. So I built the whole van myself. It took like 6 months, pretty much doing all of it exclusively by myself. At the time, I thought it'd be a good idea to put a Renogy electrical system in it. I also got some advice from a friend to use jumper cables instead of actual 100% copper wiring, which is what you should use.
Yes.
Jumper cables are CCA wire, which is copper clad aluminum, which you can use, but the wire size chart is like a very different size.
Yes.
So I didn't take that into consideration. So didn't like have tons of issues, but I just knew it wasn't working properly.
Yeah.
And then I got like a Starlink, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have like bigger electrical needs.
Yeah.
I work full time on the road remotely. I need to have access to the internet and electricity. So I ended up in Salt Lake City actually like last September, bought a full Victron system, bought a second 300 amp hour lithium battery, and rebuilt the entire electrical system, like wiring and all, like in the Lowe's parking lot, getting harassed by homeless people the entire time.
Nice.
And yeah.
Here in Utah?
Yeah,
or in,
like right over there
right
at Lowe's. Yeah, and yeah, in the winter there's not that many homeless people here. In the summer they're everywhere. And I couldn't go 10 minutes without worrying if someone was going to be grabbing my stuff or, you know, bugging me, harassing me for money. And I'm, you know, trying to work full time. There's stuff everywhere in my van, completely ripped apart. But it's been bomber since. So
there you go.
10 out of 10 Victron. So, they're the shit.
Again, like, oh, so you went from Renogy to Victron.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, good choice. Althea's got a full Victron system.
Yeah.
Big fan of Victron. But you know, and again, like most people on the show, your failures end up being really great successes down the road.
Yeah, so honestly, my triumph would just be building the van in general, but also like even in situations like that, now having the skills to know how to read a wire size chart and knowing all the tools to build it. And like, I rebuilt it so much faster than I did it the first time. I knew exactly what I was doing, and now I know it's super bomber and it's amazing and perfect.
You know the inside and out of your rig, like you know where every pipe is, you know where every screw is, you know where every situation is. If something comes up, like you can get access, you can fix it quickly.
And the thing is, I can do that now. When I bought the van, I had no tools. I hadn't built shit before. Like I didn't know what I was doing at all. But like YouTube University, there's so many resources out there online that
100%.
You can really figure out how to do literally anything. There are so many videos and people out in this, that's like this community in a nutshell. Is like everyone's just trying to help each other.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
like, if I can help somebody else do this project that was like the most frustrating, hardest thing I've ever done, like people are more than willing to help you do that even for free.
For sure. And we talk about it all the time on the show. Like, you don't have to have the van built and done to get on the road. Like literally get on the road with a blow-up mattress and a sleeping bag in the summertime, come to a couple van events, see what the community is all about, and somebody's going to help you like start thinking about the process.
Totally.
Like,
I actually did that.
Yeah, exactly.
I went to Moab with just my floor done, not even like the top sheet, like the subfloor in, and threw like my mountain bike, all my rock climbing gear, my highlining gear just on the floor. 2 twin beds, so I had like a king size bed on the floor, and I went there for like a month with all my friends, and we're talking about where I'm going to put everything, and like had someone sleeping in a hammock like rigged across the top, and it was awesome. And like I highly recommend doing that.
Yeah, for sure. And and then too, the other thing is like if you are scared to start or you're worried to start, I mean, you're the perfect example in terms of like, what it took to be full-time on the road is like you literally just bought the van and figured out along the way. Like you ran into some issues, obviously you addressed those as being maybe failures, but they're not failures in a sense that like you actually took the step and started the process. And then you've just corrected it and gotten better along the way. So
and it's not like my electrical system wasn't working. It's just like the whole buy nice or buy twice thing. I definitely spent a lot more money. I literally just threw all the Renogy stuff in the trash. It was giving me so much garbage, like so much trouble. I was like, I don't feel justified to even sell this to somebody else because it's been giving me so many issues that like
it's complete.
I have power during the day, but then I'll cut off at like midnight. I'm like, it was sunny all day. I have 400 watts of solar panels. I'm not powering anything. Like this is not working properly.
Something is wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it. Question number 4. Did you start your life on the road as a single person, and what is it like living your life on the road as a single person?
Yeah, so I have been on the road the whole time as a single person, but I did travel around with this girl for a couple months. I stayed with her in Salt Lake City 2 winters ago, or I guess last winter, and she had an Airbnb, so we like skied together and just like we're hanging out. And then she really wanted to get into van life. She's like, I want almost your same layout. And like, she didn't want to build hers herself, but she wanted to like have a company do it. I was like, all right, well, like, come see if it's actually for you, because my friend Brandon did that for me.
Yeah.
And we went on like a 3 or 4 week road trip, and by the end of it, I like really knew what I wanted and what I didn't want, and if it was for me, and if I like really wanted to do it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of give her that same experience. So we traveled around for a couple months together.
Nice.
And she actually is getting a van built right now.
There we go.
But from a company. So
that's amazing.
Was single that whole time, and then single since, and
right on.
I really love it. Like for me, like growing up, I was like, you know, the whole parent situation, like managing that, and
of course
having to be very involved in that. Then going to college, I had like 3 roommates and like a room basically the size of my van.
Yeah.
Then had 4 roommates. Then I moved into a co-op with 21 roommates. Then into a co-op with 35 roommates. Then into like basically a trap house in Detroit.
Yeah.
So like, and then when I was in Aspen and Vale, I had like 4 roommates and then like 9 roommates. So like, this is the first time, I'm 29, that like I have literally ever been with myself.
By yourself, yeah.
Yeah, and like, it has been so just like revolutionary for me. Like I've really figured out what I like, what I don't like. I finally get to sit with my thoughts. Like you just talked about this meditation group that you went on, where like you meditate for 70 hours. Like that's me all the time. Like just sitting in there, like actually trying to process my thoughts. And I don't have all these distractions, and I'm not just doing what, like being a product of my environment and just doing what everyone else around me was doing and what my roommates are doing. I was like, oh, I'm not doing anything, I'll do that. But now it's like, I'm actively choosing everything I'm doing. Yeah. And it really has ultimately made me a lot happier. And
it's pretty amazing in a sense that, like, and again, on the show, we talk about it all the time, like, and it comes as kind of like a little bit of a warning, and it's just something that, like, I definitely press on this show and want more people to know about, is like, you're going to live in your rig. And I've talked about it all winter long. You're going to be alone a lot of the time. You're going to be by yourself. And so you're going to be by yourself with your thoughts, you know, whether it's good or bad, you know, TBD. But at the same time, like, it sounds like how you kind of grew up and got through college and got into, like, you know, your professional life, like, you were never alone. Yeah. And so the fact
just surviving,
that,
like not thriving. Now I'm thriving.
This became your opportunity to, like, you know, get your thoughts settled and really focus in on what you're wanting to do, and, like, you know, providing more opportunities, you know, for the things that, like, you want to focus on, which
100%. Like I play piano, and like when I'm learning a new song, like I need to be fully focused. I can't have like distractions. And I remember like learning with like other people walking in the room and making noise, and like when I'm in here, it's like I'm fully dialed, fully focused. And
please tell me there's photos on your Instagram of the piano, because I want to definitely post those photos.
I can get some. I have some on my old Instagram, but none on my like Vanstagram yet.
No, we will post those photos, because he has a piano spot in the rig, which is pretty dope.
Yeah, I built the whole van around it. So
it's pretty awesome.
It worked out pretty well.
Yeah, it's amazing. Everyone's favorite question 5. What is the best place or craziest place you've had sex during your life on the road?
Nice. Well, Matt just talked about putting his bed on the roof, which I can also do. I got a queen size bed, like a 75 by 65 inch deck. So
it's honestly my favorite place to sleep in the summertime.
Yeah, so I'm not going to say that one though, just because he just did, but my favorite would have had to be this winter in the ski resort parking lots.
There you go.
Yeah, I know you know how the traffic is getting up there, where you got to get in that canyon before 7 a.m. if you're lucky to even get a parking lot.
We got up there,
we were there at 6,
like 6, 5:36.
And the resorts are open till 9, so you're up there. You know, you can make breakfast, you can go back to bed, whatever. But I would say that was the best, because that, and then also leaving. There's this huge snake also going out of the canyon, so you're like, oh, I'm done skiing. I can just sit here for a couple hours and make a little better use of my time.
Exactly.
So I think that would be the best situation
for sure, and it's ideal. Like, especially if you live in a rig. We talk about it all the time. Obviously, summer months, you can find a million other nomads, like out in vans and rigs all over.
Everywhere.
Wintertime, we're few and far between. Like there's not that many that are doing winter van life and skiing and that type of thing.
Winter van life in cold areas.
In cold areas,
yeah, like a
yeah.
lot of them go down to Baja or like San Diego, and it's like I'm sure there's a lot of people there, but the difference is when you're in a cold environment in the van, like when I'm in the warmth, I'm outside of the van most of the day.
Yeah,
like I'm outside playing and like hiking and doing things, and like I see other people outside their vans and they'll have their doors open, just chilling in there, and I'll not feel weird to go and approach them. Yeah. In the winter, like there's two vans right there. Yeah. They haven't come out all day. Yeah. Like they probably aren't going to because it's cold.
They are in their van. You're in your rig. But I will say, and I want to use this as like as a positive for like winter moments, especially from this winter. Though and I've documented it quite a bit. I struggled quite a bit this winter, but the opportunities to get into a ski resort are amazing, like in a rig. Yeah. So, you know, we would get up at like 5:30, 6 o'clock. We'd be first in the canyon, you know, for example, like headed to Brighton that day. Yep. Like where we all posted up. We were like first ones in the lot, like had our choice parking space. Yep. All like closed up the rigs, went back to bed. Lifts don't spin till 9. So like you have this time to just like chill, relax, get dressed. Like it ends up being, and then like getting out of the canyon, it's like no one wants to leave at 4:30. Like screw that. Lifts just closed. Like you're gonna hang out in the parking lot. You're gonna let all the traffic go by, and you're just gonna like chill with all your friends.
And everyone else, like if they wanted to have breakfast, like they had to wake up at 4:30. Like it's like to make breakfast at their house. It's like we can wake up, barely get dressed, already have all our ski gear already packed in the rig, get up there, and then figure our whole day out and get situated.
Exactly. So. It actually was really nice. Like I thoroughly enjoyed those moments of like, you know, I remember skiing at Solitude with Lindsay and Girl God Nomad, that whole crew. Yeah. And like I was at the base of the stairs in the front row, you know, right there, and it was like, I couldn't have had more of an A1 parking space.
Yeah. And coming back for lunch.
Coming back for lunch,
we host Opry.
We skied down, we had lunch, we had beers, and then we went back up and skied again. And then at the end of the day, like my van's right there, like 20 steps from the lift.
And that's like why I wanted to start hosting those parties, because I was like, especially in Salt Lake City, if you get an Icon Pass, there is one of like 7 resorts you can go to on a weekend or like just any day. So coordinating with all your friends on where you want to go. Yeah. For me, it was a lot easier to like, let's make a flyer. Yep. Everyone come here. I'll make breakfast and lunch, and now we can all ride with each other. And like, I know everyone's gonna get hungry at lunchtime. The lunch is like $20 on the mountain. Like a beer's like 10. Like I'll bring a couple cases of beer. I'll make food for everybody. Get the community together, and just like I love bringing people together in situations like that. And free food's a really great way to get people together.
It was awesome. Like the day we threw the Brighton party. Like and again, go to my YouTube page at Bearded Van Life and check out the Ski Utah episode, because you'll get a chance to kind of see like what we did. And I mean, it ended up being just perfect. You know. Got everybody in the parking lot that was there. Like we met so many cool people, and like they just come over and hung out. Like it was a good day. It was definitely a good day. Question number 6: how do you make money while living your life on the road?
Great question. Something I'm really trying to make a heavy emphasis and focus on this year, of trying to find other income streams. So currently I work like kind of typical 9 to 5, Monday through Friday at Microsoft. Yep. I've got a Starlink, I've got a hotspot, and just kind of fully remote, never have to go into the office. I got a computer science engineering degree and a supply chain management degree at Michigan State.
Which, just shout out to you. Those 2 degrees at MSU are so hard to get into and are so difficult. So
they got like the #1 supply chain program in the nation.
The supply chain program at Michigan State is unbelievable. So you told me that, and I was like, holy shit, like that's legit. I know a couple supply chain Spartans, and
so I work with Azure and kind of control where all the servers are going everywhere in the world and manage that whole supply chain.
It's awesome.
It's been good.
Hell yeah. And then you're trying to access additional income streams as well.
So trying to maybe figure something out with AI or some kind of marketing, building websites for people. Like I've got that techie background, and something with like more flexibility. Like I've had that experience traveling abroad more, like with that Europe trip, and like I would love to go to like Thailand, New Zealand, South America, like and have a little bit more flexibility. Even if I was making less money, honestly, I'm kind of more interested in having the time off.
or the flexibility to kind of do what you want.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. I love it. And again, I love highlighting on the show, like so many different careers, so many different options. You know, a lot of it is, yes, it's digitally based, but like, you know, I mean, Brian Bear, like he was a mechanic for a long time on the road. Like there's so many options that you can do professionally and to make ends meet while living your life on the road. So,
and I always thought, I was like, oh, if I live in a van, like I don't want to be working 9 to 5. I'm like, this is the happiest I've ever been by far. Like, and it's not as ideal in the winter just because it's cold after work and it's dark, and like I wish I could be skiing during the week when it's not as busy. But honestly, in the summer, like any shows, comedy show, music festivals, any like farmers markets, all happen on the weekends, all happen at night. Like I really don't feel like I'm missing out on all that much. Especially when it's light out till like 9 or 10, I can still get my hikes in, my runs, go rock climbing, do whatever I want. So it really has not been that annoying.
To a little bit of the discipline, probably. I'm just guessing. But I know I've spoken to a lot of others who work 9 to 5 on the road, like having the discipline to make sure that, you know, you're working 9 to 5 on the road. It takes a little effort.
A little bit. I do have like meetings that I got to be on for, and I really enjoy my job. Like I really don't mind going to work and stuff. I mean, I usually start working like in my bed in the morning, like before I'm like even dressed, like take my first few calls and then make breakfast and kind of just have like a slow start to my day. And then by the afternoon, if I've done everything, like, you know, I've got a mouse jiggler I can throw on, and, you know, go for a hike, get some outdoor time, and, you know, but I do try to stay on most of the time.
Yeah, no, I love it. And again, too, it just highlights like the ability and or flexibility that you can build into your day. You know, if you've got a slow day, you're in a rig, go find an amazing place and, like, enjoy the outside. You know, if you have to work and grind, like, you know, go to a spot where you don't care to go outside and just work and grind. Like, you have those options.
And like, I always have to run errands anyway. Like, I'll have to go to UPS and like return stuff. I need to do laundry. So it's like, okay, I just drive to the laundromat, do my laundry throughout the workday, or I grocery shop during the workday almost exclusively. And like, I'm always running errands and stuff anyway. So it's really not that bad. And then when I'm done with work, I'm free, versus like when I worked at General Motors, I was like, cool, I'm done with work. It's like 5. Now I need to go grocery shopping, and I need to go to the gym, and I need to do all these things where like right now I like go for runs during work. I like, you know, go grocery shopping. I do all my laundry. I do everything during work. So when it's the weekend or it's time off, like
you've got all that dialed.
I can do whatever I want.
You can do whatever you want. Yeah,
exactly.
It is pretty amazing in terms of like how living in a van has made my time management skills a billion times better.
So much more like efficient.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm gonna do 3 or 4 tasks in this one like hour, and like it's gonna free up my entire week.
Yeah,
you know, that type
and the big thing is like you don't have to come back home.
Yeah.
Which like, you know, when you're in a van, it's just like you're just here, and you're done. It's like when you're in a house, you're just zigzagging back and forth.
It's true. It's very true. I love the concept of the efficiency, because it's one of those things where like, I'm going to sit and do laundry, I'm going to work, and I'm going to get the rig clean, and I'm going to do a couple other things, and you know, all of a sudden I've got my weekend free.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's amazing. All right, question 7. What is your rig? Who built it? And then why? We already talked a little bit about who built it. Why did you choose it to experience your life on the road? Yeah,
so this is Ghost. I also have a dirt bike on the back. So the rig is a 2019 Ram Promaster 3500 extended. So it's the biggest Promaster. It's 13 feet from like back of the chairs to the back of the van. I built the whole thing myself. Had a couple friends like hold a cabinet up while I screwed it in or something, but that was like kind of the extent of the help, which wouldn't recommend. If you have someone to help you, I would highly recommend that.
It was friends. But have your family get involved.
I was also so obsessed with it, and so like taking so much pride in my work that I didn't really trust anybody else to do it. And that was like on me, where I just had this vision in my head of how I wanted it to look. And the rig itself, so I bought this van just because like I didn't have a bunch of building experience, and everyone basically exclusively on the internet said these are the easiest to build. They're the widest, they're the boxiest, they're the cheapest. So all of those were factors, like money-wise and everything. So I just have like a horizontal queen bed, and I'm like not touching on the sides, so didn't want to deal with doing flares and like a vertical bed and all those things. So that made sense. And I had looked around at a bunch of different YouTube videos, and like it kind of had a layout I had in mind, but then I wasn't able to do the piano drawer that I wanted to do. So I actually ended up kind of modifying Trent and Allie's design.
Right on.
And it's like 80%-ish similar to what Trent did.
Yep.
Shout out to Trent. He made like 3D model with like every dimension to scale, had like a link to everything he bought, and that was a really, really good baseline. And I kind of took that and ran with it and made some like modifications of my own to kind of personalize it. But yeah, if I didn't have that, that would have been, you know, made this a lot harder. Like sometimes you gotta stand on the shoulders of giants to see further. So
yeah, no doubt. And again, too, like, you know, I answer questions like this all the time. People, you know, message me all the time after seeing Althea, and they're like, what, you know, what was that, you know, front thing that you had behind your front seats? And like, oh, what was the model of that, you know, fridge, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
or
all
like,
the time.
All the time. And I guarantee you, like, if you're thinking about nomadic travel, if you're thinking about building a van, if you find something that you like, or you see something on IG or on YouTube or whatever, like, reach out to that person. They're going to be more than happy to like answer your question and like, help you out. So, you know, it's basically how the community functions. And, you know, more often than not, people are so proud of their rigs that they want to share and they want to help someone else, you know, get involved. So
I feel like obligated to do so now because like building this rig was like the hardest thing I've ever done in my life by far. Like without comparison, like way harder than college, way harder than anything. And if I can make that process easier for somebody else, I'm like more than willing to do that for free for anybody. Like,
of course.
I've helped multiple friends build like 3D layouts with VanSpace 3D. I've like told them everything, all my knowledge and experience for like how I would do the plumbing system, how I would do the whole electrical system, like every component I would buy, what I wouldn't buy, and why. So we're more than willing to help.
Of course, I think it's amazing. So why? And you said basically the Promaster basically probably because of price and access and being able to get one, find one at the time.
Yeah, even getting one. I got this brand new for $40K in 2021, and they're a lot more expensive now. Yeah, getting that deal, like I was finding ones with like 65 or 75,000 miles on it for the same price. So I was like, all right, that's easy.
And then obviously the Ford and the Mercedes, you know, went up from there.
Yeah, exactly. And it'd be cool to have like all-wheel drive. You know, there's like definitely pros. Like the Sprinters have like a lot of like cameras and like all sorts of fancy features. Like, you know, in my future rig, like I'd probably do an overlanding rig next, but you know, would definitely consider like a transit, like all-wheel drive transit or something. Yeah,
I will say the four-wheel drive, if you're gonna do winter van life, the four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive is almost not a must, but it's really, 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 really convenient.
Yeah, so. I mean, they put traction laws up in these canyons, and they don't really check you, but you don't want to be that guy getting stuck.
Yeah,
so
you don't want to be that guy sliding down the mountain in the snake coming out of the canyon.
When your whole life is in this rig that you need to protect, it's a really scary place to be in, and I've been there in a couple times. Getting all-terrain tires helps, but all-wheel drive would definitely make a big difference.
Yeah, I've driven over some passes in some conditions that were not ideal, and very, very, very happy that Althea was four-wheel drive.
The other day, going to Bachelor, looked gnarly.
Going to Bachelor was like that, and going over Rabbit Ears Pass, going into Steamboat. Like I was in like a legit blizzard whiteout that night. And that pass, if you've ever driven over that pass, is sketchy. And when it's blowing like sideways and you can't see 30 feet in front of you, it is icy. It is scary. And I was very, very happy Althea was a four-wheel drive vehicle. Question number 8. What is your best bathroom? Number 1 or number 2 story from Life on the Road? So first, is there a toilet in the rig?
Yeah, so I have a Nature's Head composting toilet.
There we go.
That's a great way to preface this because
actually you can probably see it in the shot. It's right there.
So
which is huge, by the way, compared to the
it's like 30 by 32 inch shower pan. And I can take everything out of it, so you can fit 2 people in there pretty comfortably to shower. So when I was traveling around with my friend, I never need to be on camera, which is awesome, and they don't know I'm living in a rig, but she was also not telling her company that she was like traveling around in a van, and she had to be like on camera with like one-on-ones with her boss sometime. So I was like, all right, if you have the more important meeting, like you can take the back area. If you don't, then like I have the front office too, and we'd set that up and like drop that curtain, and like it worked pretty well. We'd have the fan running, and like I don't ever think it was really an issue. We couldn't really hear each other. There was one time she was on a one-on-one with her boss, and I was about to shit my pants, like so close, and I'm just like looking over, and I was like, dude, like wrap it up, like I
let's go.
Can't like mute it, like can't turn her camera off, and I'm like, I'm literally staring 2 feet away from my toilet, and I'm about to shit my pants in my rig, like, and I like didn't want to open the doors even to like think we were like a public park, I don't know, like, so Even if you have a toilet, sometimes I guess you can't use it.
Use your toilet.
But
there you go.
yeah, 10 out of 10 would recommend at least having some way to poop in your van for some kind of emergency, because inevitably it's going to happen. I know a lot of people just talk about that they can use public restrooms. Like, I've been in a lot of situations where I would have had no clue what to do if I didn't have, especially when I have to work. Like sometimes I'm in meetings for 4 hours straight, and if I don't have a toilet in my rig, like
you're screwed.
I don't know what I'd be doing. So
for sure.
Number one, I kind of like to do this thing when I'm hiking. If I ever find like a stupid, beautiful vista or view, that I'll just like purposely go and pee, even if I don't need to. I'm just like, I'm just gonna take the view in here.
Exactly.
Like, so that's something I like to do. So probably like Half Dome.
Yeah, for sure.
Top of there was pretty good.
Easily the best. You're like one of the very few on the show that have actually had composting toilets. Like, talk about your experience with the nature side.
Oh, dude, it's the best.
It's the best.
If anyone says it smells, if you put peppermint essential oils in the liquids container and maybe a little vinegar, zero smell. It actually like smells good when you dump it out. It literally just smells like minty.
I actually never thought about the peppermint. I've been doing the vinegar for the whole time I've had the
It's a game changer. I have some I can give you. Like,
I'm 100% going to take that.
It is the best. Like that, and then the solids, like literally the easiest thing to change ever. And like a lot of people talk about how they're so expensive, and it's like, oh, it's $1,000 toilet. It's like, yeah, it is, but also like I use it multiple times every single day.
Exactly.
And it's so bomber that like it can't break. It's just a piece of plastic. There's like a fan on it, which like I thought mine broke. It actually wasn't broken.
Yeah.
The fuse popped. They sent me 2 more for free, like overnight shipping.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing that could really break about it. It's super easy to clean. So it's like I could have this toilet for the next 30 years if I wanted to.
Easily.
Like it's so
easily.
Think about what you want to invest in. Whatever you want to get, I highly recommend having something, whether that's a 5-gallon bucket with a bag or whatever. Like have some way. Don't wait until you're in that situation. You need something.
But the composting toilet is amazing. Like there's no odor. It's super easy to change. Like I'll go 2-3 months, without having to change the solid side, and it is incredible.
And when you do, it takes 5 minutes. Like I usually go to a dog park where everyone's already throwing out poop in bags, and I just do it there.
Yeah,
just take it out, put more peat moss in, good to go.
Exactly. It's very, very simple to do.
Yeah. I've seen other people, like I saw this video the other day with an incinerating toilet. I was like, dude, what? Like,
and I get it. Like, shout out Jared. I think he was like talking about it for a long time, and Barefoot Theory, I think, was using it at one point. Like, I get it. And they sound cool in theory, but the compost
doesn't sound practical.
The compost is so easy to do. So, and we all know we hate the the other toilet. I don't even know.
Oh, the cassettes? Oh, dude.
Everybody, like, it's just all the horror stories you hear on there. Now, again, to your point, like, if you can't afford the $1,000 throne, I get it. Have something in the rig.
Yeah,
the small cassette toilets are great because they're small and you can like slide them into like really tight areas in the rig. So that side makes complete sense. So I just love all the stories of the pressure and the major issues with
the beef stew that it creates.
Exactly. All right, question number 9. Describe the hardest and happiest moments of living your life on the road. Whew.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to storm tonight. Like
it has been all winter.
Yeah, exactly. It's snowing. It's going to snow again tonight.
So happiest, I would say, was meeting Sydney and Henry, Divine on the Road and the Hen Dog in Bellingham. Just like randomly rolling up to a park one day and pretty much immediately like realizing that's like their rigs and like seeing them. And like not really talking to them for a couple of days, but then we ended up going back to the same park to work, and then eventually like went up and talked to them. And Sydney was like someone who like I was listening to her podcast like back in Detroit like years before I even bought my rig. And she has all these resources on how to like get into van life, and like I don't know if I would ever have actually done it if it wasn't for her being like, this is possible, this is doable, like if you want to do it, like this is the step-by-step process. And actually getting to meet her and like hang out with her and like be friends with her now was definitely like one of the coolest moments on the road. That was like kind of a bucket list thing for me to be like, hey, I really want to just meet this girl and thank her for everything that she's done for me.
That's very cool. That's super rad. Yeah, I mean, I actually met them, and shout out to both of them. They're amazing human beings. I met them at Tiny Fest, where I met you, and
you were actually talking to them when I met you.
And so like it was one of those moments where like I was like, oh, do you guys want to see the rig? And we ended up talking about the rig for a long time. So they are are very cool. So that's pretty awesome.
And it was cool in meeting them too, because like Henry was like going through this transformation in his van, like trying to get rid of his shower and everything, and I was actually like able to show him like, oh, this is how I build my outdoor shower, and like you can build it off your sink faucet, which like
for sure,
fun fact, you can do.
Exactly.
So he ended up like actually redoing his whole like plumbing system. I was like, oh man, I was actually able to like give like some value to them. Like that made me feel really good. I was like, man, I've gotten like so much value from you guys that like if I could help
give back,
give back in any way, that was super cool.
There you go. And then the hardest moment.
Honestly, like I felt like I've been thriving so much and literally just had like by far the best year of my life. Like I feel like I did more cool stuff in this past year than I've done in my life combined, honestly.
I can honestly say the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm coming up on a year anniversary, and the last year of my life, even though we've had some pretty low lows this winter, has been pretty fucking insane.
So I would say the hardest was like, I moved out of I had an Airbnb here for the winter just because like I don't have all-wheel drive, and like there was a lot of things I needed to buy, just like I needed an address to get them shipped to, and like to get my life organized, so I had an Airbnb for a couple of months. I moved back in the first week of March, and honestly, like from then till now, I've still like really had a good time, but I would say it was probably the hardest exclusively because I'm working a 9 to 5, and I still ski like 3 days a week-ish.
Yep.
Definitely every like Saturday, Sunday. Sometimes I can go like Friday.
Yep.
But like when it's warm out in like the summer, like I'm doing things every single day. And like we talked about earlier, like the van life scene is very different when you're in like a really good climate like Moab, when it's the time to be there. Like there's thousands of rigs there, and you're always meeting new people and going on hikes, and like when it's the winter and it's cold, like I get done with work and I'm like, oh man, I don't really feel like doing anything. The ski resorts are already closed, so it's like it hasn't really been hard, but it just hasn't been like the most fun time. That's the worst it's been. It's still been fine.
Yeah.
Like it's just
I say the same thing. Like I'm so glad you brought it up, because I've said like this winter like has really opened my eyes, because I didn't expect the maybe the solidarity or the being alone side of it throughout winter van life, because I was the same way. I was so pumped. I built Althea literally to be in the snow and to go ski as much as humanly possible. But at 4:30 when the lift goes down or that sun goes down, you're not in the backcountry anymore. It's like, well, now what? Now we're just gonna hang out. So and even hanging out gets tough because it's it's 10 degrees in Park City last night. So, it's not warm. And so that was definitely eye-opening to me. And as much fun as I've had this winter, it has been challenging.
For me, it's like the minor inconveniences. I'm like, my floor is cold. I wake up and I have to dust off my solar panels because there's snow on them, and it's like it's cloudy all the time. So it's like, it's not that bad. It's just like I'm used to it being really sunny all the time and like generating more energy than I'm even using, and like going on walks or runs and doing things throughout the day.
It's just
it's just a little different.
Yeah, a little different.
But I'm about to go somewhere warm and stay there for the next couple of years. So
you're good.
That's the
you're good.
What I would like recommend. If that's the beauty of having a remote job, if it is fully remote, is like my last year I literally was in 80-degree weather for like 8 months straight. And then came here for winter, and it's like that's what I'm about to go do again for like the next 2 years straight.
Shout out to every one of our friends that just lived in Baja all along.
I'll be there next winter. I'll see you guys there. Like we're gonna be kiting all winter. It's gonna be sick.
That's awesome. Okay, question 10. In your own words, define #vanlife, and then provide a piece of advice to somebody wanting to live a life on the road.
Yeah. So this is my definition of it. Like especially from living in my car for that summer. Like I really consider van life to be any person who wants to be nomadic and just travel around, whether that's a 4-door sedan, whether that's a minivan, a rig, a full overlanding vehicle, a schoolie. Like for me, that's van life. Like, you know, you go to Schoolie Palooza, it's not just school buses there, like for me, the nomadic community is very accepting, and like, no matter what your means are and what your situation is, if you, it just means like you wanting to be nomadic and you wanting to be out there and experience life now and not, have all the stability and all of the things with like having a home has, and find your community on the road and being resourceful and kind of figuring things out.
And that's just it, is like, it's truly a community. The nomadic community is a massive community. It's a tight community, and it's completely accepting in a sense that like you can show up in your car in a sleeping bag and everybody is going to welcome you. You could show up in, a schoolie, an overlanding rig, you can, a truck and a truck camper. Like, it doesn't matter what it is, but if you're there and you're wanting to be a part of the community, or you're wanting to experience the things of, life on the road, like, that's the thing, is like people are going to welcome you with open arms.
Totally.
So,
and then
it makes perfect
the
sense.
advice I would give to anyone, and I feel like it's been given a lot in the show, is like, just do it. But for me, my perspective and my shift on it is like, don't wait for something traumatic to happen.
Okay.
To like do what you think that you should have been doing the whole time. Like for me, like I knew this was for me literally for like 5 years. I was like, my life, like all my problems are gonna be solved if I just get this van. And like honestly, almost all of them were. Like I had like just framed out this like reality where I was like, if I just had this, you know, this setup, this wouldn't have been an issue. Like when I got kicked out of housing in Aspen or like in Vail and like all these places, I was like, if I had a van, I'd be laughing right now. And I keep talking about doing it, but I haven't. And I think if there's like some business you want to start or like something that you really feel compelled to do that you can't stop thinking about, like don't wait for some like super traumatic, like horrible experience to happen for you to like pull the trigger and make it happen. Like I've had to like do that in so many areas of my life, you know, and yeah, that's the advice I would give.
I mean, it's really good sound advice. I mean, and again, it gets said a lot on the show. More often than not, people will say just start, you know, and but it goes like deeper than that. It's not about just starting. It's, you know, if you've been thinking about this for a while, like take whatever means that you have. You know, if you don't have a lot of means and you have to do this slow and it takes a year-long process, that's fine.
Right.
But you go back to just starting it and making sure that you're staying with it, you know. Or if you can, you know, buy a rig tomorrow and get on the road, fucking just go.
Yeah.
Just do it. Don't wait for something, you know, and I like the advice of like, don't waiting for something traumatic to happen, you know.
Right.
You know, you hear all these stories about like something happened in someone's life and that's why they got on the road.
Right, like lost their job, like,
exactly.
you know, whatever. And like they were forced into it in a lot of situations and, you know,
It's one of those things where I think if you're truly thinking about it, and you do have the option to try and rent something for 2 or 3 months, take a long road trip, see if it's right for you. But, you know, more often than not, like if you're thinking about this and you want to do this, like don't hesitate. Like come join us on the road. It's pretty great.
And to add on to that, like if it's something that you're saying you want to do, like ask yourself, honestly, are you doing every single thing you can humanly do that's possible to make it a reality?
Yeah, exactly.
Like if this is your dream, are you working extra shifts to save up money? Are you doing research to figure out how to build it? Are you talking to companies that are going to build it? Are you shopping for vans? Like if this is your dream and this is what you want to be doing, ask yourself seriously, like how bad do you want it? Because if you want it bad enough, you'll figure out a way to make it happen. But like for me, for 5 years, I didn't want it bad enough. I was just talking about it. And then something had to have happened for me to be like, all right,
now I'm in.
Fuck it. Like
I'm going. No, it makes perfect sense, and it's good advice. Like, you know, it's one of those things where there's so many resources. There's almost no excuse if you're truly wanting to do this, like 100%. For you to start. Like, and again, it can be a slow process. It can take some time, or it can be an overnight process. There's a lot of ways to do it, but the key is just getting started and just doing it. So
definitely, you can definitely make it happen if you want it bad enough.
Yeah, exactly. All right, brother. This has been amazing.
Thank you so much
for doing this.
Can I have a hug?
Yeah, of course. This was amazing. So, of course.
You.
Yeah, brother.
So glad we can make this happen.
This was awesome.
Timing worked out perfectly.
Timing worked out perfectly. We are going to, I'm going to get back on the road. Actually, no, I'm here for another day. I'm getting the Althea's 40K mileage set up.
She goes up quick.
She goes up quick. the miles go on quick on her for sure. So we're going to get out of here, and everybody like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for all the new support. Everybody coming over from the Tiny House Tours. Really appreciate y'all. And we'll see you guys on the next episode. So thank you.
Thanks. If you try to book one now, it's literally in like June.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure. Well, and two, like all their stuff, like everybody wants to get in on their product.
I was wondering what chair you had. I was trying to find it like REI Helinox.
Yeah.
That's the one that swivels.
Yeah, they've got a couple that are stationary, and then this one obviously. Say something.
Hi.
Yeah, you're
How's it going? Who wants to go into an interview like that?
Jared Tausche wanted to do that. And then the irony was my camera died 3/4 of the way through that interview, so I actually can't air it. Or I couldn't air it. And then I think it was like question like 3 or something. He was like, you know, biggest triumph, biggest failure, and he was like, oh fuck. He goes, this is a really good question. He goes, I probably should have got these ahead of time. And I was like, I fucking told you. Sweet, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was perfect.